The recent murder of a Trump supporter in Portland by an Antifa Black Lives Matter security guy is extremely disturbing and takes things to a whole new level. For years, the left has been trying to demonize us, censor us, stigmatize us, even prosecute us. But execute us? That's something different. And if you think it stops in Portland, you're wrong. Here is an Antifa Black Lives Matter leader talking about assassinating the President of the United States.
We got fucking rip Trump out of that office right over there. Fucking pull him out that shit. Nah, we ain't about fucking waiting until the next election. We about to go get that motherfucker.
I think the Secret Service should pay him a visit. And here are the Antifa types right after the killing in Portland, talking about how they're happy it happened because they killed a fascist. In their own words, they took out the trash. Listen.
And tonight, I just got word. The person who died was a Patriot person. Yeah. He was a fucking Nazi. Our community held its own and took out the trash. I am not going to shed any tears over a Nazi.
Now, a murder is disturbing. The reaction by the perpetrator is chilling. But worst of all, I think, is the reaction of the Democratic leadership and the left. First, the reaction of denying the truth of what happened. That's Joy Reid. Here's a tweet by Joy Reid in which she basically says, oh, no, this wasn't a case of a Trump supporter being killed, and not by a leftist, not by one of us. This was the opposite. The killings are being perpetrated by the right. Now, Joy Reid knows this isn't true. The video shows the opposite. The video shows the celebration by Antifa of what happened. So she knows better. She's not misled. She's just pursuing the Goebbels-style tactic of lying with a straight face in the hope of misleading people. Reaction number 2, whataboutism. Oh yeah, we did do this one, but what about Kyle Rittenhouse? Look at the Trump guy who shot the other guy. Well, that case was not similar. If you watch that video, you hear a shot ringing out first, and then Kyle Rittenhouse's apparent shots in retaliation. That appears to be a case of self-defense, even though much more needs to be known about that incident. So in this case, in the Portland case, the Trump supporter was just walking, and you hear a bunch of guys talking about, hey, we got a Trump guy, something to that effect, and then boom, they execute him in cold blood. It's a political assassination, pure and simple. And then there's the third reaction by the left, and that is Trump made us do it. This is Mayor Wheeler of Portland.
President Trump, for 4 years, we've had to live with you and your racist attacks on black people. It's you who have created the hate and the division. It's you who have not found a way to say the names of black people killed by police officers, even as people in law enforcement have.
So what Mayor Wheeler seems to be saying, now this would make a little bit of sense if it was a Trumpster who did the shooting. Then the mayor could say, well, he got his supporters, Trump got them all stoked up, and so they went crazy, and then they decided to take the law in their own hands. But how do you blame Trump when Trump and Trumpsters are the targets of the attack, when it's your side that's perpetrating the attack? And it isn't just Mayor Wheeler. Here is Kamala Harris talking about how these kinds of attacks, this kind of activism, this kind of, quote, protest is not going to stop, not even after the election.
But they're not going to stop. They're not going to stop. And this is a movement, I'm telling you. They're not going to stop. And everyone beware, because they're not going to stop. They're not going to stop before Election Day in November, and they're not going to stop after Election Day. And that should be, everyone should take note of that on both levels, that they're not going to let up, and they should not. And we should not.
Now, James Woods, the activist on the right, says that we are basically in a civil war. I think that is going too far. But I think that his reaction shows the seriousness of what we're witnessing in Portland and elsewhere. An escalation far beyond an acceptable point, a kind of bringing down of the guardrails of society. If the left doesn't renounce this, if the Democrats don't put their distance from it, if the FBI doesn't crack down on it, if Trump himself doesn't make sure that this stuff is stopped, then there will be a widespread sense in this country that it is open season on conservatives and Republicans.